What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, welcome back to another episode of Debunking Gun Myths. So, I will say right now, before I even get into what the episode is about, I had no idea exactly how to word this. So, excuse me if it doesn't sound, 100%. If it sounds a little off, excuse me, basically. And you'll see why I didn't know exactly how to word it when I explained what it is, but you read the title, you saw the thumbnail, let's get into it. On this episode of Debunking Gun Myths, you should carry a spare mag of FMJs with you instead of a spare mag of hollow points. Now, I'm going to go in just debunk on why this, Jesus, I can English. I'm just going to go ahead and debunk this and talk about why this is such a stupid idea. And I'm going to give a good few reasons as to why that is, not to mention why it's a better idea just to carry hollow points as a whole. So let's get into it. Keep in mind, guys, I will say, technically speaking, on, I guess, this argument, whatever you say, I am a bit biased. I carry strictly hollow points. But let's get right into it. Some of y'all might even be wondering, because I know it's such a normal thing to only carry hollow points, some of y'all might even be wondering, who the hell is suggesting your spare mag should be FMJs? Well, here is the logic that I've gathered from some of these people. The logic I've gathered from them is that, well, if I've had to use everything in this mag right here that has hollow points, then this right here just means every shit has just hit the fan and it shouldn't matter. I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It's just my life or whatever. Now, I can agree with the aspect of that in the pure sense of if you're arguing for whether you should carry a spare mag or not. And here's what I mean in that. I simply mean that, let's say somebody, is like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to carry a spare mag because all I have, as extra ammo is FMJ. I don't have hollow points. I still think you should carry the spare mag of FMJ at that point, of course. You know what I mean? Extra ammo is better than no ammo. There's no arguing there. So let me start with saying that right now. However, if you have spare hollow points and you have an empty magazine, you don't have a spare mag when you're carrying, you're doing yourself, honestly, a misdeed. That's the truth of the matter here. The simple reason why is that let's ignore the fact that, oh yeah, well, maybe I run through all of the rounds in my mag that I already have in my EDC, let's say, and have to reload. That isn't the only reason why you need a spare mag. You see what I mean? So another big reason why you would need a spare mag is simply for malfunctions, in case some shit has happened and you're like, you know what? It'll be easier just to ditch this mag than have to sit here and keep fucking with everything. So in a situation like that, why should your ammo then no longer be as powerful, as hard-hitting, sometimes as accurate? Why should you have to essentially, cripple yourself all because you had a malfunction? If you clear the malfunction, that's like you essentially getting over what I guess we, in this case, would call the cripple, and getting on with your life. But, you're essentially just saying, hey, you know what? I shot myself in the foot, so instead of letting it heal, I'm just going to go ahead and amputate it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense to me, but, let's start with that, right? That's a big reason why people carry spare mags. Beyond just needing to reload, it's in case of malfunctions. So you don't want your ammo, or at least your ammo quality, to go down just because you had a malfunction. That's a big reason, in my opinion. That's just for starters. Next, let's say you do have a malfunction and you sit here and only have FMJs. And before you guys ask why I keep showing two different mags, because I do have a mag loaded with FMJ, and this is actually my spare carry mag. But as I was saying before, let's say you do have a spare mag and it is only FMJs. You now are running a higher liability risk when it comes to overpenetration, when it comes to hitting someone else due to overpenetration, or simply just causing extra property damage due to overpenetration. Now, I'll be the first person to say it. I personally do not give a fuck about property damage when I'm defending my life. Let me make this 100% clear. And I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I'm not saying this because, oh, yeah, I don't care about your, what you own. I don't care if I mess it up. I do care. And of course, I do feel bad about it. But if I did have to defend myself and it resulted in someone else's property being damaged, I don't really care because I'm alive. You know what I mean? I'm much happier to, pay for the damages and be alive than, not be able to pay for the damages because I'm dead and wasn't able. You see what I mean? Regardless, besides the point. My whole point, though, is simply that there is a much higher risk when it comes to carrying FMJs in your spare mag alone. Now, as I said before, does this mean that if you don't have hollow points that you shouldn't carry a spare mag at all? No, by all means, at that point, carrying FMJs in your spare mag is better than nothing. Now, one thing I will say that is, in a sense, a pro for carrying FMJs in your mag is that traditionally your standard full metal jacket, they tend to run in almost all guns. You have to have a pretty shit gun for it to not run your standard training ammo. So, I mean, I guess there is a plus for that. However, the truth of the matter is that it is immediately outweighed by the downside of the hollow points, the expansion, and what it does, delivering the energy it does due to the expansion, cannot truthfully be mimicked by an FMJ in that sense. It's not. There's no comparison is the best way to say it. This is going to do a much better job at stopping somebody than this will. There's just no arguing it there. Now, is this to say that this cannot stop somebody? No. However, this is much better. That you're not worried about overpenetration. You know that when it hits, it's going to pack a bit more of a punch than your standard FMJ will. Without having to worry about overpenetration, you're not really having to worry about accidentally hitting other people. And really, due to overpenetration, I mean, crossfire is still a thing, of course. You do have to be careful about that. You do have to know your target and what's beyond it. However, I mean, I think I've gotten my point across essentially is that, I mean, I understand the aspect of where people are coming from with, oh, yeah, well, if I have to go to an extra mag, that means shit hits the fan. Yeah, I can see where you would think that. But in all reality, the truth of the matter is that no matter how we want to look at it, every bullet that leaves our chamber, every bullet that leaves out the barrel and is fired is our responsibility. That's just the truth. Every bullet we fire is our responsibility, and that is how it is. I'm the first person to sit here and say we have to own up to whatever happens. I would rather I at least sit here and say, hey, this is literally what is known as self-defense ammunition. It is known for expanding when it hits the target and doing its job at stopping the threat to my life. I would much rather have this, even if it's just in my spare mag. I mean, as I said before, it's better than nothing, you know what I mean? But it's not better than this by any standard. These are not impossible to come by. It just the whole argument that people make for that it has, I guess, a couple of one or two pros, you know what I mean, just in the sense of training ammo is cheaper and it tends to run in more, just with less finicky issues. However, that's just because it's training ammo. But when we're talking about self-defense alone, you guys got to understand that we're talking about protecting your life or the life of your family. If one round of this is going to stop the person, but 2 or 3 rounds of this won't, it ain't worth it to have this for me. I would much rather have hollow points that are going to pack more of a punch. Look, some people might be wondering, oh, is it just that they're hollow points that means they pack more of a punch? Yes and no. And this is something I want to point out too before I end the video, because I do know that I'm going in circles a little bit. I'm enjoying the video. It's been a couple of days, so sorry. But I do enjoy making videos for y'all, unlike most gun tubers out there who just do it because they get the views. I enjoy it. Regardless, though, the entire point I'm simply getting at is if you choose ballpoint ammo, otherwise known as FMJ full metal jacket, over your jacketed hollow point ammo, you're cheating yourself. There's no other way around it. You're putting yourself at a higher risk of fucking up. Not even fucking up like missing, but I just mean fucking up like over penetration, hitting somebody else, things along those lines. It's just not worth it. It truthfully isn't. I mean, it makes just about as much sense to me as, I actually did a video on this, on carrying mixed load mags, meaning one hollow point, one FMJ, one hollow point, one FMJ. It doesn't make sense either. That's the note I simply want to leave you guys on. It essentially is the same effect to me. You know what I mean? It's just kind of dumb. It doesn't really make sense. And in all reality, it just puts you at a higher risk of worrying about being sued. And or not even just being sued, being in jail. I personally would rather avoid both of those things. Now, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up for this video. As I said, I know I've been going in circles. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit it all. And because you agree with me, I mean, if you don't, I personally don't care. That if you don't, you should probably check out all my other videos anyways. But especially if you agree with me, that hollow points are much better to carry in your spare mag than FMJs or full metal jackets. Make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.